So I'm in high school and I don't like school. Shocker, I know, but for those of you school-loving, happy-go-lucky wardens, I'd like to present my case as to why the public school system sucks at providing an education to millions of students. You may be saying to yourself, JP, you obviously gain knowledge from going to school. Look at the videos you make, pretty darn awesome. Fine, you got me. I actually did learn a lot from going to school, but after going through 11 years of education, I look back and see an extremely stressed student, working hours upon hours to complete redundant homework assignments and taking tests upon tests to achieve a letter A on a piece of paper. And why did I work so hard and stress so much to get that A? Because I was scared shitless about what might happen if I dropped below that grade. Colleges are very competitive, you know. You need high grades to get into a good college, they said. But the number one priority of college is not educating students. It's money. The almighty dollar. But that's a whole other rabbit hole that I don't want to go down right now. The number one priority of the school is to turn a form into the state that says, look how smart we made our minions. We trained them to do all this work to get A's. Obviously it's because of how amazing the school is. The kids, we did all the real work. We made them who they are. Now give us our money. What about the kids? Oh, they'll be fine. We already tricked them into thinking that their grades are the most important thing in life. Now we can just milk the cow. What's that? The students are getting incredibly stressed about their grades. Oh, they'll be fine. Meanwhile, let's add some more homework. They handle the amount of work we give them now just fine. Let's just up the work and scare them a little more. Yeah, then they'll be really motivated to get those grades. Now don't get me wrong, it's not the fault of the school that they have to resort to scare tactics to get funding. And actually a lot of times schools are underfunded. That's why they need to resort to these tactics to get the money they need. It's the system that's broken. Also, just because one person may score high on a test doesn't mean that they are smarter than someone who scores lower. It just means that in that particular subject, with that particular teacher, in that particular circumstance, one person was able to provide answers that were correct and the other was not. So now the kid who scored lower on the test is telling him or herself how unintelligent he or she is. That may not be the intent of providing grades, but I can assure that receiving a low grade does promote a low self-esteem. I've experienced it, and I'm sure you have too. In addition, kids who consistently score A's are also negatively affected by the grading system. Let me explain. Say you're an honor roll student. Every year you get straight A's, top of your class. You've learned how teachers think, you've learned how the school system works, and you're using it to your advantage. And to boot, your style of learning matches the style of the school. So you're set, right? No. You've essentially backed yourself into a corner. Instead of taking new innovative paths to finding answers and solutions, you're doing the same thing over and over. You're falling into line. And you think you're doing great because the school keeps telling you how wonderful you are. Well shit, now you're stuck in the same boat as most honor students, and you're unable to grow. You must force yourself to think differently. Don't worry, I'm in the same boat as you. What we need is a motor and some gasoline. Let's say all through high school your grades in math class never really surfaced above a C. You as the student may come to the conclusion that math isn't your thing, and maybe you're right, but there is also the distinct possibility that it's not the fact that you aren't good at math, but maybe having a teacher lecture you about derivatives isn't the best way of teaching the material to you. If you can't pay attention in class while a boring teacher tells you about boring subject material, maybe it has nothing to do with the actual subject itself. Lots of kids think math is boring, right? But maybe it's because they can't see what math can do, and the implications of math on the world. I was fortunate enough to have a teacher who showed me the mind-blowing aspects of math, to get me excited about learning the steps to understanding those mind-blowing things. Let me give an example. Say you're learning about functions. Y equals blah blah blah, x blah blah blah. Kinda boring, right? But if you put a function into itself an infinite amount of times, you get a fractal. And if you assign colors to different parts of the fractal, you get an amazing picture of an infinite shape. Cool, right? But wait, there's more. If you take a triangle and on each side of the triangle add another smaller triangle, and you keep doing that forever, you get a Coach Snowflake fractal. What's different about this one, you ask? Well, I would be glad to answer that. See how whenever you add a triangle, the perimeter of the object increases? Okay, so if it goes on forever with a forever increasing perimeter, one may say that the perimeter is infinite. But wait, there's more. If I draw a circle around this shape, quite obviously the shape will never go outside of the circle. So we can conclude that the Coach Snowflake fractal has an infinite perimeter with a finite area. Just think about that for a minute. Okay, time's up. But that's my point. Showing the students incredible things like that could encourage them to learn more. I know it does for me, but more often than not, this doesn't happen in schools. Kids are expected to do their work like good little minions, not because they want to educate themselves, but because they're scared of what might happen if their grades drop below an A. And that's why I make videos like gravitational space-time warping and time dilation, because that stuff is amazing, and it inspires me to learn more about physics. I guarantee you that I would not be excited about walking into a physics classroom to write notes if it weren't for mind-blowing things I know about physics. In fact, I signed up for physics because of this. I did not sign up for physics because I want my transcript to say physics, but because I want to learn how the world works, how the galaxy works, how the universe works. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I didn't do so hard on the tests, but what kept me going wasn't fear, it was inspiration. And that's how school should work. Inspire your students, don't engulf them in fear. Let's make the priority of school to educate the students, not scare them with arbitrary letters on an arbitrary piece of paper. Now it's time for the important part. How do we change the system to prioritize learning? I don't think we should get rid of grades altogether, but we should definitely lower their priority. Make the students understand that grades only show how you are performing with the specific type of learning in their class, and use those grades to show them how to find new ways of learning. Create curriculums that promote problem solving, riddles, and things that the students find fun and interesting. But don't do the same types of activities every day, because that can get boring and monotonous. If students are struggling, never give them the answer, but guide them along the path to the answer. Show them one path to the answer, but never say that there is only one way to get the answer. In fact, encourage students to find unique paths to the solution. In the beginning of each class, give the students a short lecture about something interesting about the subject or world in general. Even if the lecture isn't always about the subject, it can get the students interested and awake. In today's society, problem solving is so important. We already have the internet to puke up information. We need innovative thinkers, not robots. Thanks for watching my rant type thing. If you agree or disagree with me, please comment below. If I'm wrong, I would love to know how I can reshape my hypothesis. I hope we can all agree that the school system does need to change. The disagreement we may have is how to make it better. Thanks.